Welcome to December 9th and Joseph, and possibly my cat Jake. We'll see how much he wants to get in on the action. Yesterday, we talked about Zechariah and Mary in their different responses to the angel's announcement from God. Today, we're going to talk about the third of four people. Today, we'll talk about Joseph. Tomorrow, we'll talk about Elizabeth, Zechariah's wife and Mary's cousin. Joseph, in some ways, may have had the hardest job of the four. Zechariah brought his muteness on himself because of his disbelief. But later on, he got a son, and he was able to speak again. Mary would ultimately suffer more than any of the four, but she also had the unbelievable privilege and blessing of bearing the Messiah. Elizabeth, who we'll talk about tomorrow, had the unbridled joy of having a baby after she had despaired from ever having children. Joseph, though, Joseph was told that his betrothed, the girl he loved, was going to have someone else's child. Now, a little background on this, you know it, but let's go over it very quickly. Joseph discovered that his betrothed Mary was having a child. He knew it wasn't his because they had not had sexual relations. Now, even in modern times, what a betrayal that would be. If a young woman comes up pregnant and her fiance knows very well it's not him because they were waiting, or he thought they were. That's how it felt. But unlike modern times, when the most that the fiance could do was either dump her or try to work it out, Joseph had the legal right to have her executed, or at the very least to shame her, have her father kick her out of his house. Joseph wouldn't take her in, which was an essential death sentence to a pregnant woman anyway. But Joseph, even before he knew who the father was gracious and compassionate and loving. He didn't try to take her back. The betrayal was too deep. But he did put her away quietly, meaning that he allowed her to live out her life in seclusion. Because honestly, that was the kindest thing one could possibly do to a woman who was pregnant out of wedlock. It was a different time. But then Gabriel visited him and said, don't put your wife, your betrothed, Mary, away. She didn't sleep with another man. She didn't sleep with anybody. The Holy Spirit has quickened her so that she will give birth to Messiah. And you will raise the child and protect the mother. And Joseph, being the kind of man he was, agreed and did. But Joseph knew Jesus was not his biological son, but Jesus was the Son of God and of the woman, his wife, who Joseph loved. And it fell to Joseph to become their protector. For when Jesus was about 2, Herod began having all the male children of that age murdered. The angel appeared again to Joseph in a dream and said, take the family, flee to Egypt, which Joseph did. In our role as Christian entrepreneurs, as believers who have businesses that we want to have been granted to us by God, that as believers we need to be seeking His will. Sometimes we're not the star of the show anymore. Sometimes God has us take a back seat. Maybe you've always been the leader, maybe you've been by yourself, now you hire staff, and they turn out to be a whole lot better than you at a lot of things. It's great for your business. Maybe you started business later, you've been at it a long time, you're starting to step back a little bit, and it can be hard to give up the reins. Or sometimes, if you're a coach or a consultant, you may have a client who ends up doing unbelievably well, far better perhaps than you have. and you're glad, but stings a little. But if we are being Joseph at a season in our business, then it's up to us to nurture and protect, even if it's other people doing as God has gifted them to do, and they're better than we are at something right now. You are blessed if you come alongside without jealousy, or if you're jealous, you work it out with God on your knees every day. And you are blessed by being Joseph to that person or those people.